prop hierarchy is important to understand whenever you want to have a prop that's going to move with your figures. So if you plan on having them dancing or walking or doing martial arts, and you want to have a weapon or a sword or a shield, a hat, a bracelet follow along with that character, then you need to know the hierarchy that you have to employ so that that thing knows what to stick to. So I'm just going to briefly show you what you do. I'm going to go to the props category in the library, and I'm just going to choose anything at random, literally, because I'll show you later on in the project section more accurately how to get things to move with your figures. So I'm just going to bring in, for example, the bowl. I'll double click on the bowl, and as you can see, the bowl's on the floor. And I'll just go ahead and move it over on the X, and I'll also move it up on the Y. I'm not going to put the bowl in the figure's hand, but I just want to show you that you should use the parameter dials or any other method to get the prop where you want it to go. Of course, you would actually put it in his hand, turn his palm up or whatever, curl the fingers slightly around the bowl, etc. But you also have to ask yourself, what part of the figure should the bowl be parented to? Or, in other words, what should it stick to so that when the character moves his arm, the prop goes along for the ride? 9 times out of 10, you might want to just use the wrist, so that if you swing a sword around, the wrist is the parent and the sword will follow. This will change based on what you're trying to animate. Of course, if you put a hat on his head, the head would be the parent and the hat would be the child. And if the head tilts or turns, the hat will go along. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about how to actually get this bowl parented to the object. So with the bowl selected, I'm going to go to its properties. It's right next to the parameters. And as you can see, we have something called set parent here. Now, one of the things I like to do before I make a parent is click on the side of the object just to make sure I have the right one selected. So as we can see, this is the right shoulder. So I want to parent to the right hand or the right wrist. So I'm going to click on the bowl again, and I'm going to go to Set Parent. The Object Parent dialog box appears, and then we can scroll until we find the object that we want to have as the parent for the bowl. Now we already know that we want the right side to be the parent. So I'm going to go to right hand, and then I'll click OK. Now before I do that, very important, there's also an option for the prop to inherit any bends of the parent. Now what that means is, let's say you have a blob character, and when the blob bends and deforms, do you want the prop to also bend and deform like the parent? So if it's something that's rigid, you don't. But if it's something that's soft, of course you might want to do that. So I'm going to leave that off because the bowl should not be bending when the wrist does or whatever. So the hand is selected. I'll click OK. And now when I move the hand, look what happens. The bowl follows. And that is the hierarchy that you have to understand when you want to parent objects to your poser figures.